Rodney Wilson says, "The event that you get from The Horror from the Hills may be the more deep you excavating the information that hide inside the words, the more you get enthusiastic about reading it. It doesn't mean that this book is hard to recognize, but The Horror from the Hills giving you excitement feeling of reading. The writer conveys their point in a number of ways that can be understood through anyone who read it because the author of this publication is well known enough. This book also makes your own personal vocabulary increase well. That makes it easy to understand, then can go to you. Both in printed or ebook style are available. We recommend you for having this kind of The Horror from the Hills instantly." Dennis Rodriguez raves, "Reading a guide tends to be new lifestyle in this particular era globalization. With reading you can get a lot of information that can give you benefit in your life. Using book everyone in this world may share their idea. Books can also inspire a lot of people. Plenty of author can inspire their particular reader with their story, or maybe their experience. Not only situation that's shared in the guides, but also they write about the data, about something that you need example of this, how to get the good score TOEFL, or how to teach your kids. There are many kinds of books which exist now. The authors on this planet always try to improve their ability in writing. They also doing some study before they write on their book. One of them is this, The Horror from the Hills." Trudy Clark says, "It is possible to spend your free time. You just read this book, this ebook. This, The Horror from the Hills, is simple to deliver. You can read it in the playground, in the beach, train in addition too soon. If you did not include much space to bring typically the printed book, you can buy often the ebook. It is make you better to read it. You can save typically the book in your smartphone. Thus, there are a lot of benefits that you will get when one buys this book." Truman Gallagher raves, "Don't be worried in case you are afraid that this book will probably fill the space in your house. You can have it in ebook way, more simple and reachable. This particular The Horror from the Hills can give you a lot of close friends, because by you looking at this one book, you have matter that they don't, and make anyone more like an interesting person. That book can be one step for you to get success. This publication offer you information that might be your friend doesn't recognize. By knowing more than other make you to be great people. So, why hesitate? Let's have The Horror from the Hills." Meanwhile, Scott Croft says, "Why don't make it to be your habit? Right now, try to prepare your time to do the important take action, like looking for your favorite reserve and reading a guide. Beside you can solve your condition, you can add your knowledge by the reserve entitled The Horror from the Hills. Try to stumble through a book, The Horror from the Hills, as your friend. It means that it can to become your friend when you truly feel alone, and beside that, of course, make you smarter than previously. Yeah, it is very fortunate for you personally. The book makes you considerably more confidence, because you can know anything by the book. So, let me make new experience as well as knowledge with this book." Jose Pina says, "The book, The Horror from the Hills, make one feel enjoy for your spare time. You need to use to make your capable much more increase. Book can for being your best friend when you getting stress. You're having big problem along with your subject. If you can make looking at a book, The Horror from the Hills, to get your habit, you can get far more advantages like add your personal capable, increase your knowledge about several or all subjects. It is possible to know everything if you like open up and read a book, The Horror from the Hills. Kinds of books are a lot of. It means that science book or encyclopedia or other people. So, how do you think about this publication?" Janelle Coe says, "The book, The Horror from the Hills, can give more knowledge and information about everything you want. Why then must we leave a good thing like a book, The Horror from the Hills? A number of you have a different opinion about guide, but one aim that will book can give many data for us. It is absolutely appropriate. Right now, try to closer with your book. Knowledge or facts that you take for that, you can give for each other. You could share all of these. Book The Horror from the Hills has simple shape, but it has great and large function for you. You can search the enormous world by open up and read a reserve. So, it is very wonderful. Yolanda Harris says, "Your reading Sixth Sense will not betray anyone. Why? Because this The Horror from the Hills book written by a well-known writer. Who's to say, well, how to make book that can be understood by anyone who all read the book? Written inside good manner for you, leaking every ideas and creating skill, only for eliminate your current hunger, then you still skepticism The Horror from the Hills as good book, not simply by the cover, but also with the context. This is one reserve that can break don't assess book by its cover. So, do you still needing a different Sixth Sense to pick that? Oh, come on, you're reading Sixth Sense. Already said so. Why you have to listening to an additional Sixth Sense?